what were your morning thoughts this morning?
Oh,
Let's go ahead and go into that.
all right. Yeah, no, being a traveler, all these thoughts going on preparing to be in the van. And so what I was doing is, every morning I go outside just to feel what it feels like because right now we're in comfort, we have warmth and all that kind of thing. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not that it's cold outside, but as you know, even when it's 60 degrees and maybe a little
Mm-hmm.
damp or something, the past couple days I've had a lot of rain here. So I was just kind of sitting out there, and actually what I'm wearing now, I'm a minimalist. I don't have a lot of clothes, but I have a couple long sleeve shirts, and I was just sitting there kind of feeling in, what does that feel like? What's it going to be like in the van? And that kind of thing. And then I was just kind of looking out onto the water. And at the same time, I got a little bit of anxiety going because there's a lot of unknowns, just kind of these little things that I know I'll hurdle through each one as we begin our traveling. But I had these thoughts started coming, and I just kind of started writing some of it out. And it has to do with the the present moment, whatever it is. I'm using this example this morning that I'm having all these feelings, and there's a little bit of fear in there, a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
anxiety, and a little bit of excitement. But when I began thinking about that, because of so many times in the past we've overcome different scenarios, circumstances, my memory of it, the thought, it doesn't hold the feeling of
Right.
any particular moment. So
Mm-hmm.
I just wrote out, and then I got into something that seemed kind of cool. So we'll see where this goes here.
Okay. I'm
Um,
ready.
yeah, so I kind of wrote out, and there's a few notes here that it as you're a writer
Mm-hmm.
too. That sometimes when you're in your flow and in your thought, and you might just write a word down. Oh, I won't
Mm-hmm.
forget what that word is supposed to represent, and all the other things tied to it. So there's a couple spots in here that I might have to jump around a little bit, but just as the writer in the thought, because I was at peace, and I'm like,
Yeah.
but I was thinking kind of like, man, I remember some of the stuff I've gone through, which was similar to this. And when I think back, my memory, I don't, okay, I knew it was a struggle, that's it, but I
Right.
didn't feel what that felt like.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. So no matter how acute you feel in any given moment, moving through any particular circumstance, your memory of it doesn't feel what felt, but just the imprint of that moment. And oh, you might remember this time or that time, and oh my God, I went through this. It was very difficult. But you just remember it's difficult in reflection. It only holds the thought. And then there's the difference when it comes to memories that might be uncomfortable versus joyful ones.
Yeah.
And as I was expanding on that, I'm like, yeah, when something really amazing happened, I do get a little happy feeling when I
Mm-hmm.
recollect, as opposed to something that was very difficult. I don't really get a pit in my stomach or anything. It's just like, oh man, I don't want to do that again.
Mm-hmm.
So then I had this thought on just being human, the difference of what we feel in moments and how we remember them. It kind of seems redundant because I've over explained everything before I began reading this. But there's always that balance of safety and our control, or the lack thereof it, of our human nature to find and attain that constant safety. And it could
Mm.
be referred to as like the pursuit of peace.
Yeah.
There's always this constant pursuit of peace.
Yeah,
And
there is.
life as we know it is difficult. We're overcoming
Mm-hmm.
things all the time, and there's all these feelings attached to all these things, and memories are different than what the actual moment
Mm-hmm.
when it takes place, how that happens.
Right.
And then I just kind of, for whatever reason, I kind of scatter off, but it ties back in because in my earlier drinking days, I'm sober
Mm-hmm.
now, but There were moments after I kind of lost the control over those kinds of things and was drinking way too much because it turned into a coping mechanism because I didn't realize I was just searching for that dopamine and for that
Right.
serotonin to relieve things. It turned
Mm-hmm.
into that because life's challenging. But after I kind of retained control and it was on my last stages before I ended up
Mm-hmm.
quitting altogether, I was experimenting with alcohol, and I'm sure you and many
Yeah.
people, there's that they call it the one or two beer buzz. You get that just that little bit. Because I have some other
Yeah.
examples here, and I'm not advocating to drink or anything, but
Right.
I was experimenting because I was weaning myself away from
Right.
alcohol because I drink a
Yeah.
lot. And what I recognized was I recalled in my very early days, when I first started drinking, that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
There was that
Mm-hmm.
feeling of somehow like, can you bottle that feeling up and just keep that? Because life
Right.
itself is challenging, and for whatever reason, you have one wine or two wines or a beer or whatever or a
Mm-hmm.
shot, and it's doing to the
Yeah.
nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
There's that feeling. Experimented in the past with I've done mushroom journeys with actual medicine men. I've also tried bufo, which is another plant journeying medicine, from a
Mm-hmm.
medicine man, a shaman.
Yeah. Right.
And in all of those cases, it was this kind of blissful, amazing feeling like, oh my God, how do we find that? Because in life,
Without, yeah, without the substances.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's kind of where some of these thoughts went. And just all of these chemical influence and things that we can do,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, it gets dangerous for everybody, but what is so special about those small moments where all of a sudden, wait a minute, I'm feeling at peace. And
Mm-hmm.
then this is where you were mentioning a bit ago about natural. And then I
Yeah.
had this thought on, I do breath work and things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
all of these things that we can do with a sober body.
Yeah.
You don't have to resort to chemicals and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of started branching off into ideologies and the practices, like what monks do. And then what is it about existence alone that we have to try so hard to find what feels so good? Why isn't life itself good? And then
Well, we
there's the
really, yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
no, and then
Finish.
just the pursuit of peace,
Mm-hmm.
not in all cases, can somehow become an escape
Mm-hmm.
from the reality that we're in because we've had those moments of peace like, oh my God, this is
Mm-hmm.
amazing. I want this. I want to keep this. I
Mm-hmm.
want to stay in this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's like me. I can get even as I'm just waking up in the morning, that's where I have that feeling the most. And I
Yeah.
can actually just go there.
That the alpha, there's the
Yeah.
alpha and
Hmm.
the
But I'm
beta
still,
waves and
yeah,
stuff.
but I'm still awake, but it's just like a rush of, I can't describe it in words so much as just, it's just like a rush of, and it's like you can feel spirit with you, or I
Yeah.
can feel spirit with me.
Yeah.
And that's just like, and I'm wrapped in that,
Yeah.
for a moment. And I do that every morning. And it's just like, as I'm waking up, there it is. I can just like, I don't know. It took some time to do that because I'd feel it come in and it'd be like, at first it kind of felt heavy,
Mm.
that heavy feeling. It's like
When you're transitioning,
my
so
body
yeah,
was
after you're
resisting
kind of
it.
coming out of sleep, and then
Yeah.
there's that transition of your senses
Hmm.
coming back online,
Hmm.
so to speak. Is
Yeah.
that what
And
you
but
mean
it's
by
just
the
like
heaviness then?
the heaviness was kind of my body resisting letting spirit come in.
Ah,
That's what I call it. Is my communion with spirit, where
yeah,
that but there's nothing. I'm not thinking of anything. It's just the feeling of being enveloped in that oneness.
Yeah, like the peace,
And
right?
yeah,
It's-
peace. And it's tingly and there's no thought.
Yeah,
I'm not thinking about anything, no worries. I'm not praying. It's just being wrapped up in that.
yeah, kind of
And
thoughtless,
yeah,
but you feel that.
yeah. And it's like, why can't I do that right now?
Yeah.
Why does it have to be just at bedtime or up in the morning? Why can't I just sit here and do that now?
Well, I think that's where we touched a little
So,
with the breath work
yeah.
and the meditating and
Mm-hmm.
things, and that does assist.
Yeah.
I've had
Yeah.
the luxury of, kind of being this nomad traveler bouncing around the world.
Mm-hmm.
I've had many opportunities to be in whatever environment I'm in. And, since we've known each other, I was on Crete when I first started
Mm-hmm.
Substack and then ended up in
Yeah, I
Glastonbury for
remember.
6 months.
Yeah.
And while I was there, I had a lot of time to reflect every afternoon because we hosted a B&B and we had our beds to make and stuff in the
Mm-hmm.
morning and we get
Yeah.
everything situated. And then I'd go out walking and we're by all these sacred places,
Mm-hmm.
but also just writing, writing
Mm-hmm.
as therapeutics, as reflection, as journaling.
You're right.
And I was practicing like my third person skill because I'm not very good at that. I've
Mm-hmm.
gotten very accustomed to writing in first person, but when you go to third
Yeah.
person, I was still the character, but I was
Mm-hmm.
practicing on taking what I was observing and making it third person. And while doing that, it was a lot of listening. And it kind of touches
Mm-hmm.
to what you're getting to
Yeah.
and what you've already mentioned with that feeling in the morning where
Mm-hmm.
your body's still at peace, you're still waking up,
Yeah.
and it's before all the cognition kicks in. And
Mm-hmm.
that's something I experienced with the mild, they were very mild
Mm-hmm.
mushroom trips and a medicine journey with Bufo. And what I experienced is exactly that, where
Yeah.
I was aware of my bliss state in a way that I could tell how busy the brain and our senses are
Mm-hmm.
when I'm not in that state. I was able to
Yeah.
somehow
Mm-hmm.
stand outside myself and say, oh my God, look at how this state of consciousness, or I don't know the technical terms for
Mm-hmm.
this, but just being in that energy of that, the
Mm-hmm.
chemicals, I don't know what it all is, but I was able to observe like how busy and how um, surface a lot of our thoughts are and those kind of things. So it's really cool that we're kind of coming back to where this all
Yeah.
started when I was just beginning with the feeling of something versus our memory or the thought of it is much different.
Yeah.
It doesn't hold that power of the feeling of our
Mm-hmm.
experiences.
I like to describe it as being so connected to everything and nothing all at once.
Mm,
It's that makes sense. That's what the feeling is to me
yeah.
because you're connected to the oneness of all of creation, obviously, in every moment. But in that moment, there's nothing that you're connected to as far as thought, what's going on in the world.
Yeah. Thought's a big thing.
Hmm.
What is all of this? In this,
We could die by our thoughts.
oh man, the way our thoughts can trigger emotion,
Hmm.
can muster up feelings.
Hmm.
I began saying how this morning I had a little bit of anxiety, but not a lot because I've had enough experiences to
Hmm.
realize we'll overcome this. So I'm not going to
Right.
allow that to take me over. But it was there, and it was like, what is this
Hmm.
feeling? What is this for? I don't like this one. And where's that peace? And I was just looking out at the water, going, "Ah, man, peace." And then that's kind of where I would like. It's funny how I'm aware that I know what peace is,
Yeah.
but not always, my body's not always feeling that. And that's kind of
Hmm.
where I went with all this was how I realized in my life, in my past, so many times I was chasing peace
Hmm.
in my feeling and not so much my mind, because many times
Right.
I've been, like, okay, everything's kind of good right now. I don't have a reason to
Hmm.
feel anxiety or worry
Right.
or fear, but yet, wait a minute, there's something going on here. What is all of that? And what
Hmm.
is this world we're in? When you look around, I watch a lot of the Fall of Civilization podcast. It's awesome. Anybody checks that out too. He looks at all the, not all of them, but many past civilizations and how they rose, what it was like to be a person. He dives into many different manuscripts. Like Persia was his recent
Mm.
one, and kind of giving a context as what it might be like to be in that time, and then the fall of that civilization. And I just keep seeing the reoccurring pattern of kind of man in, having power and attaining, whether that be for the betterment of his kingdom or for his people, but the things that are done to acquire that safety, so to
Right.
speak, whether it's taking on another ruler or another region, or having to go hunt and stockpiling food and managing all that stuff,
Hmm.
and how eventually they end up getting taken over by someone else. And then it's just like this ongoing thing over the millennia of someone
Hmm.
else rising to power. And then, this is just surface level, but we start adding in the, as I mentioned, like the ideologies or
Hmm.
cultural beliefs and whatever it is for God, for whoever it is, how powerful that then
Hmm.
becomes. And those are somewhat thoughts in a way, is not as much as faith, because there is our faith that we have, but it is a belief in something which is also a thought. And that's why, like in my book and how I've navigated the world, is I've kind of gone through many different stages of different belief systems of all powerful something, because
Hmm.
how do you create this earth and everything on it and have it all kind of work together and just have, somewhat harmony? I mean, there's death, there's
Hmm.
survival. It's a big instinct in
Yeah.
animals. And then that
Hmm.
comes back to like safety. We're in this
Hmm.
world, we can see the beauty, we experience peace.
Hmm.
But it kind of seems like there's always this chase to have some type of control over your own safety, and then
Hmm.
that can bring a sense of peace.
Yeah. Well, you think about it, there's so many theories of how Earth was created and have dove deep into this thought.
Oh, good.
How we're just like grains of sand in the whole universe. Well, that's all it took was one grain of sand, like a small speck of life to create all this. We all are part and created from one speck of life. I could go deeper, but I can
Go
see you're
deep.
like you.
No, bring it on. Bring it on. I'm
um,
listening.
but the Bible says we were spoken into creation, or we were spoken into existence.
But even that's cool, because
Yeah,
who was speaking? Was it human? I mean,
yeah.
uh, here, okay.
Where did that one speck of life come from? And the whole galaxy on this globe with all this life, it had to start somewhere.
Yeah, ever listened to? I don't know all the details, but those that talk about the vibration, and
Hmm.
then that amasses matter because of the speed and wavelengths and stuff like
Hmm.
that. There's other people that can speak on this so much better, but like when I
Yeah.
listen to it, I find it fascinating, because it's basically, from my understanding, like it's all just light, but then
Hmm.
based on how the light is in its amplitudes and
Yeah.
vibrations, it then creates matter somehow.
Yeah.
And when I kind of think about spirit and the essence
I was going to say
of,
spirit.
like, I've read a lot of Muji. I think he's pretty cool.
Hmm.
And he talks about the oneness, I think he might use the observer, the
Hmm.
witness, the one that is in there, behind there, even seeing what we're seeing. There's like
Hmm.
there's an essence, there's something there
Yeah.
already. And like that, what is that? That's
Hmm.
like the energy. Is that like part of also that light? And I like in the Bible where it says some to some effect of it, he shall come, the Savior's coming, God will be there, and it will be
Hmm.
a light so bright you can't even look at it, like white. And it's like
Yeah.
my understanding of light is, I think it's either all white or all black, but everything's in that spectrum. Is that
Hmm.
something to do with that? And then it's so blinding. And then that, oh man, these topics, so many people are better at talking about it, but
I know.
mixing it in with the sound, frequency, vibration, then
Hmm.
you got matter, and then you got
The
some,
perfect environment.
yeah, some creator that says, all right, I'm gonna
Yeah.
make a human here now. And now there's humans here, and what are humans doing?
Yeah. Where did we come from? Um, there's a lot of theories on that too. I just believe that I chose to be here, no matter where I came from. My soul and my spirit chose this body to be here for this purpose, to bring light to people.
Well, you definitely do that. That's how that's how we connected
Yeah.
because we were
Yeah.
both similarly in our styles writing about there's a lot of feeling
Hmm.
and emotion in your words. And man, I remember seeing like how you wrote and the way you wrote and the words you use. I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, it sounds like me. What is that? That's
Yeah.
something.
And
And
I
just
say I felt the same about your writing too. That's like,
yeah, the feelings
and I
of
thought
that.
that
And
this is, yeah, my greatest connection on Substack right here.
yeah, and just being with
So,
that and then putting it into a story
hmm.
frame or just the observer, the
Yeah.
gratitude, um, like having this experience
Hmm.
and being in awe
Yeah.
of it. I think that takes a special place to be able to find that. Kind of goes
Hmm.
back to like when you described when you're waking up. I know
Hmm.
well what that is. I did a lot of journaling on that,
Yeah.
especially at my time when I was in Maui, because my existence at the time was during lockdowns.
Hmm.
The jobs weren't around, so I had a lot of time on my hands.
Hmm.
And I remember being on that island and too many mornings. I mean, my routine would be to get up, have my coffee,
Hmm.
and journal. Okay, what's going on? And
Yeah.
kind of felt like an explorer. And I'm like, oh, look at these new animals. The birds were
Hmm.
different. They sounded different. So I was really
Yeah.
in tune with what I was hearing, what I was seeing, the plant life.
Hmm.
And there was that period of the morning where even though I was awake and my mind was working and I was writing and doing human
Hmm.
things and using my senses, I was still in that bubble.
Right.
Maybe that's what you were describing is I was still in there
Yeah.
for a couple hours, and that's when like it wears off or you become back into our daily grind and all the thoughts start, and then this taps back into doing medicine journeys of,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I'm back into this space again, in the
Yeah.
head space. How many people talk
Hmm.
about the heart space and the head space?
Hmm. Yeah. I know. And then when that feeling is like really strong in that moment, it's like just coming out of sleep before you're fully awake. And I can feel it, and I literally just melt into it.
Yeah.
But then when I come out of it, when I'm waking up, of course, my first thought is the dogs. I got to take
Yeah.
care of the dogs. So we go right outside, and I'm just observing.
Yeah.
And this morning, a crow landed right in front of me, and it
Yeah.
was just like, Like, okay, what you got for me today?
Yeah.
What kind of witch?
You,
But this crow hangs out here and he brings me pecans, peanuts, little seed pods from
oh,
different
he's your friend
plants.
then.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had one of my articles,
So,
Chop Wood, Carry Water.
yeah.
I put in there, I think her name was Jessica, and she said, because at that time I was in Glastonbury,
Hmm.
so I had these crows I was feeding all
Yeah.
the time, and I got to know them. I was taking notes on them, watching them. They would go get the bread and then go fly to a little corner
Hmm.
of the field and kind of bury it in the ground in a certain
Yeah.
spot, and then come back and get more bread. And
Yeah.
then I would see the smaller crows come, and then they would like share the bread, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
But she mentioned how when you crows apparently are super smart, and they will remember, like if you're someone
Yeah.
giving them some food,
Yeah.
they can come and bring you gifts. So that is
Yeah.
so
That's funny
cool.
because I don't feed the birds.
They're just
I
loving
don't
your
put
energy
seed
then.
out. And I got a potato chip from him the other day too.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah. I always just leave it right outside the front door.
Oh yeah.
Not every day, maybe once or twice a week.
Well,
Yeah.
that's cool that you get gifts. I've
Yeah.
never
I
got a gift
know.
from a crow before.
I would like them to leave me a feather.
Ah. Well, usually if you
So,
kind of go where they're hanging out in the trees, you're probably gonna find
yeah.
one because they're always
Yeah.
ruffling around.
Yeah, but I do think it's precious. But, getting back that awareness of your surroundings, and then I can come in and journal. I do my Thanksgiving journal, where I give gratitude for everything in my life, good or bad, the people in my life. Then kind of like ask for things that I want, but not like oh, please give me this, please give me that. It's just like what I see for myself,
Yeah.
writing out the vision and then praying for others.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a great space to be in that morning,
yeah.
especially for writing.
Hmm. Yeah. And then the journaling turns into sometimes more profound things where as I'm doing the gratitude journal, I'm thinking, so that turns into, and like we talked about this before, where all of a sudden it's not me writing, but spirit. And a lot of the stuff I posted on Substack came from spirit,
No, it's
I
beautiful.
believe.
That's that
So,
flow. That's that space. Like I was
yeah.
talking earlier, how I only read like half of what I wrote here because
Hmm.
I don't know. It's just,
It's a good
but it just
practice.
starts to turn into its own thing.
Hmm.
And then I'm
Yeah.
in the thought, and I only write half the time, like probably 10% of what's actually like maybe sitting
Hmm.
there and wanting to come through because I'm not fast enough. Our speed of thought is much
Right.
different than the speed we can write or even how we speak
Yeah.
it. But it's like so crystal clear and amazing up here. And it's
Hmm.
sitting there and I'm like, okay, how could it was just there. All right, I'm going to try. And then,
Yeah.
eventually you can start to catch some of it. And that
Hmm.
is to me most beautiful as a writer.
Yes, I know. And if for our listeners, if you're not journaling, I know a lot of people say, "Well, I don't like to write." Well, you start a practice of journaling, it doesn't have to be every day, but you do become closer to spirit and you do start waking up to things about yourself, and it's a good way of clearing some of those negative thoughts and
Oh, yeah.
things that are holding you back.
I'm glad you say that because, yes, writing out what you think sometimes isn't even what you're thinking. These are some of
Yeah.
those autopilot thoughts we're
True.
having. And then when
Yeah.
you do start to write, you'll
Hmm.
maybe discover, wait a minute, okay, I was thinking that, but really it was
Hmm.
something else. And now I've just discovered that. And,
Yep.
it's a way, like you just mentioned, you can release some of that stuff
Yeah.
just being in that
Hmm.
practice.
Hmm.
I had some people I was coaching with, and I had them find their routine, and I said, "You pick the
Hmm.
time." But for me, for them,
Yeah.
it needs to be the same time every day, even if
Hmm.
it's like on a lunch break or
Right.
right after you wake up or in the evening, whatever time it is. Pick a
Hmm.
time and a place. And I said, once you do that, eventually you'll start observing what's around you
Hmm.
and magic will happen for you.
Oh, yeah.
Where you'll start to think it because you're honoring that time and that place, and you'll start to unconsciously tap into the energy of everything around you. And
Hmm.
because I've tested that a few times and said, okay, well, I want to see whatever it was. I don't remember anymore, but, and then it would happen.
Hmm.
Or there I was in this very beautiful feeling of something, and then it would be a sign somehow, it would show up. And otherwise,
Hmm.
at that same spot, I remember one time it was in Crete, and there's like one bench, same spot all the time,
Yeah.
and it was kind of just seemed stagnant at first, and then
Hmm.
it was like the more I sat there and the more I was journaling and like having gratitude and appreciation for my
Hmm.
surroundings, all of a sudden these little magical things started happening, or interactions, even with other people or things or animals or whatever. All of a sudden it was like it's like it knew, like, oh,
Hmm.
you're here again. Let me
Yeah.
show you something.
Yeah. I was when we were in Wilmington, right on the Cape Fear River. Great place. Oh, I've got stories.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like nobody was buying my photography, and it's like I'm not going to take pictures anymore. As I was journaling, I was told to go to the coast, and Mike asked me to stop by the pet store to get something.
Yeah.
I can't even
So
remember what
before
it
you
was.
went and you were guided, was it because you were journaling and then you
Yeah,
like got
yeah. I was like,
the
okay, I'll go to
message?
the coast. Yeah,
Okay.
I have to trust that.
Yeah.
It was the weekend. Mike, could stay and take care of the dogs. He didn't want to go with me, but he wanted me to stop at the pet store to get something for the dogs. So I'm driving, and driving is a good experience for me. That's when I'm driving, I have conversations with God or
Oh yeah, you
spirit.
get there's that thing that happens
Yeah,
with things
yeah.
moving. Yeah, things passing
And it's
by. It's
just
like
like you just give me a sign. What do I need to do? I just want a sign. That's what I asked. So I go into the pet store, and the cashier's kind of looking at me funny. You know, I don't know why. She doesn't say anything. So I get back in the Jeep. I'm sitting there. I start the engine, and I'm driving slow through the parking lot to get back out on the highway. And all of a sudden, I hear this buzzing sound.
mm,
I'm like, okay,
like in the
where's
car
that
or
coming
outside.
from? In the car.
Ah, so in your
And
Jeep,
I
all of a
look
sudden now
down.
you got a
Yeah,
buzzing
I look
sound.
down at the gear shift right here on my wrist. I kid you not, a bumblebee this freaking big
Whoa, like a
on my
queen?
wrist. It wasn't a queen. I don't think it was a queen. It could have been a queen. I never
Yeah.
thought of it as a queen, but it sat there with me, did not move, kind of buzzed while I'm driving. I didn't have any fear of it, but the bumblebee is a very clear sign for me and always has been. Shows
Mm.
up for me. Um,
So
so
exactly for you, something that has a meaning for you shows up.
yeah, yeah. So I continued to the coast. Before I get to the marina, I let the bumblebee go.
Okay.
I just put the window down and let the bumblebee go. But that thing was the biggest bumblebee I've ever seen. And it was a
Mm.
bumblebee. It wasn't a carpenter bee. It was a bumblebee. It was early March. And I get to the coast, and all of a sudden these birds start following me.
Yeah.
All
Whoa.
these little butter rump warblers start
Wow.
following me down the boardwalk.
So are those like, do they kind of look like the finches? Because I'm not a bird master.
They're little. They kind of look like finches, but they're warblers, and they kind of like a greenish color, but they got these little yellow spots right above their tail, so they call them little butterbutts.
Okay. And
Yeah,
they're
and
about
they
as big as
stop
a
it
hard ball, a golf ball.
about this big,
Okay.
and they would stop. I mean, and they're usually skittish. You can't get a good picture of them, but they'd
Mm.
stop and pose. And I had my camera with me, and I'm taking pictures. So like, I'm not supposed to stop taking photos.
Oh, yeah.
So
The bird said, "Hey, what do you think you're
yeah,
doing? You're not gonna
yeah,
stop taking pictures. Check me out, man."
yeah. So I knew the bumblebee was leading me on a discovery.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, fantastic. I have such great, fantastic experiences with nature
Oh,
that I
yeah.
just love, and I write about them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's that part of that
Yeah.
listening, part of
Hmm.
connection, being
Yeah.
in the oneness. And
Hmm.
I mean, segue right into your other topic because, mine's was a little deep here with belief and faith
No, I loved it.
because it went
Because
back to,
you have to have that faith and belief,
yeah,
you
because it,
know.
it comes to
When
that.
when you stop trusting that greater power that's within you, that's we lose trust in ourselves.
And that's part of like
Yeah.
life, that survival and safety thing. It's back and
Hmm.
forth, and sometimes we're getting pushed around, and sometimes we feel like we are invincible because there's
Hmm.
just those kind of that feeling again. It's
Yeah.
the polarity, the paradox of everything.
Hmm. Yeah.
And you mentioned um, with faith and being a
Hmm.
man of God, and I always loved
Hmm.
Matthew McConaughey's character in the movie Contact. Have you ever seen
Yeah.
Contact?
I have. It's been a while. I
Yeah,
haven't. Yeah.
I remember seeing
I'll
it.
have to watch it again.
Yeah, it was just that amazing movie, and you got the other character Ellie, and it's kind of very similar to what we're talking about, and to some degree, because they make this Stargate machine or whatever, but she has this experience,
Hmm.
and she can't explain it. And I think that's what a lot of it's like for all of us is when you have these profound
Hmm.
experiences, there's no way we can kind of touch on it and maybe get
Yeah.
fragments that might give us a hint, but something too profound for words, because
Hmm.
words are just purveyors of limitation. And he
Right.
has this experience, and that the character Ellie loves her father, and her father passes
Hmm.
away early in the movie and stuff. And McConaughey's character asks her, and because she wasn't against God, but she just didn't have the same belief system he did, and he was like an advisor, a spiritual
Hmm.
advisor, and so he wanted to make a point to her, and because she's like, well, prove that God exists, and he just kind of turns back to her, and they're having this conversation, and he says, well, Ellie, you love your father, right? And he knows she does. She
Hmm.
knows he does. The viewers know she does.
Hmm.
But then he says, "Prove it." And for me, that was, I
Yeah.
don't know how old. I think I was like 20, 21 when that movie was out,
Yeah.
1993 or something. And that was in my life like a moment. Like I'm watching that
Right.
movie, and then that happened because I didn't go to the movie for
Hmm.
that. But when that happened,
Yeah.
it made a lot of things make sense to me somehow,
Hmm.
and I couldn't
Yeah.
really put it to words.
He brings a lot of his philosophy into his characters, is what I like about Matthew.
Yeah.
Yeah. He really gets into that critical thinking. What would my character think in this moment?
Well, and he's got had so many
Yeah.
great roles being
Hmm.
kind of that
Yeah.
humbled, confident man
Hmm.
without being pushy. And,
Yeah.
he's McConaughey, you know? What a great actor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I sent you that video the other day of the interview he had with Rachel Martin. And that I have dreams of people passing and wake
Yeah.
up to discover that they or don't have dreams of them passing so much as having conversations with them and waking up discover that they have passed. Those
Yeah.
are the good dreams. And he does the same thing,
Yeah. And how he
you
speaks,
know?
his voice, and how he so eloquently always describes everything makes
Yeah.
it even better. And
Yeah.
I've had that too. That was 2020, one of my long lost friends. When we were younger, we dated, and it was so
Yeah.
strange. I don't have this part in my book, but she came to me in dream, and she was just
Hmm.
so happy.
Yeah.
And it was like, like the feeling. We've been talking about
Hmm.
feeling so much here
Yeah.
in dream state.
Yeah.
It was just bliss,
Yeah.
amazing. And
Hmm.
she's just so happy and like thanking me and stuff. And I'm
And
like, oh, wow, that's
yeah.
cool. because we had some disagreements later in life and some confusion and things. But it was like at the end, oh, it's all good. And then that next day, my friend messages me, hey, did you hear?
Yeah.
He's like, Mel's
So
gone.
you do it too. So Matthew, if you're listening, watching,
Yeah.
we're like you and you're like us. We're all the
Haha.
same. We'd like to talk to you.
Yeah. Like we
Uh,
can't explain
yeah,
it,
let's
but
have a
it happens.
conversation about this. Yeah, you can't explain it. He said something about it being soul, and it is soul, And I know in some of the dreams that I have, my purpose is to take them to the light, the tragic ones.
Yeah, you got an awesome gift there.
Yeah, and I've accepted that. So as my job, part of my job here on Earth, or my purpose here on Earth. And
Yeah, matter.
I like it. Theo says I need to set boundaries around that. I don't want him to stop
Well,
part.
that's part of
So,
this too. As you mentioned, you wake up from sleep, you're in this
hmm
beautiful feeling. I was
hmm
talking about this pursuit of peace,
yeah,
and it's like we know what it is, but then like we're in the world again, and there's
hmm
material and structure and all this
yeah,
stuff. How is it that we're having these experiences
hmm
and these dreams? I've talked to people that don't dream. I don't know what that would be like.
It's funny the other day, the other morning, I had told you before that I don't dream like you do, but maybe I do. Like I had the premonition dream about the tower crane falling.
You don't normally dream, but you have it when you're more awake.
Yeah, I have daydream dreams
Okay.
more where I'm actually interacting with physical people I can touch, even. Like I go
Wow.
into this daydream. There's stories I can talk about sometime down the line. But the other day, I don't listen to Billie Eilish. I don't know if you know who she is. She's a young musician, and I don't think I've even seen any of her videos, but I had a dream about her.
Whoa.
And
And what happened? And now this is during the day or
no,
at night?
I was like at a party with her. She had just got done performing and at the party, and she was very welcoming. Um, but she didn't pass or anything.
This isn't
So
someone like you watch or you have that it's like
no,
in your consciousness
no,
at all of a sudden, just
no.
randomly, boom, now you're having a dream about her.
Well, I watch Amy Poehler's Good Hang every once in a while. She has some pretty good interviews. And that popped up the morning after when I turned my iPad on and opened up YouTube. That was the first video I saw, Amy Poehler's interview with Billie Eilish.
Ah, and you just had the dream then too.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay,
Wow.
I guess I'll go watch this.
It's like
And
that
there's one,
telepathy,
yeah, there's
telepathy
like,
going on somehow, or
yeah,
frequency, sound, light, all
hmm
of these different elements.
yeah,
I don't know what to make sense of all of it, but yeah, having
yeah,
these kinds of experiences, I think, really just for me, it's medicine because
hmm
it's like peace, like my escape. Oh my
yeah,
God, I just had an amazing dream. I had an amazing sleep.
yeah.
They're much better than the nightmares or the freaky ones.
Right. Well, this was like I have to watch this interview. I was supposed to listen to her message. She said that she grew up in a musical family and singing and writing, creating music is her true love.
Yeah,
And
creation.
and that is her soulmate. She called it her soulmate.
Yeah, music,
So we
sound.
were talking about energy.
Yeah,
So energy is part of soul. Soul is energy. We're all energy. So for her to say that her that her love,
yeah.
she's living her love, and that's her love is her soulmate, and that's creating music.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.